Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
The Alabama men's basketball team is looking for its 6th win over a ranked opponent, but it is not going to happen as number 16 Kentucky is wearing Alabama out. Under 5 minutes to go now, 72-48. There is one bright spot. Retno Basahan doing it again. He's got 29 of Alabama's 48 points. Wow. About 60% of the points coming from Retno Basahan. But Kentucky's got a whole lot of guys scoring, so the Wildcats will run their home court winning streak to 36 games, and Alabama will fall to 7-8 in the SEC. And with that, we say good evening, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Tider Insider TV, the better late than never version. Obviously, severe weather is a priority here, and we had to wait until the threat was over and the warnings were over to come on. But we appreciate you watching Richard and the weather team to stay up to date on what's happening there and staying tuned to watch Rodney and I on Tider Insider TV. Our program brought to you each and every week by Buffalo Rock. Alongside Rodney Orr, I am Gary Harris, and it took a while, but we are now going to get to drink some Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry. And worked up a thirst there with all the weather in the area and the delays, but we're here now, Rodney, and unfortunately Alabama men's basketball not going to get it done tonight at Kentucky, but still this team has overachieved all year. But we know that Alabama football is always a story. And now this week it's about those players that are trying to go to the next level. The NFL draft is still a couple of months away, but this weekend it's the NFL Combine, and 9 former Crimson Tide players will showcase their skills at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. It's a big opportunity for all of them, Rodney. And, you know, a number of these players not only looking to be drafted, but looking to improve their draft stock, and that's what the Combine is for. Let's start with Derrick Henry. Most people have him slotted as a second-round pick, but, Rod, here's the deal. I mean, this guy's 6'3", 242 pounds. He's probably going to run sub 4.5. He's going to bench well, test well. Do you think he's got a shot, maybe just to push himself up into that first round?
Yeah, I mean, you never really know. Again, I know how running backs now are not really, a top priority in a lot of ways in terms of first-round picks, but you know, this guy certainly, Gary, he's proven, coming out of high school, people said he wasn't a running back, and, you saw what he did at Alabama, obviously had this great career. You mentioned his size, you mentioned his speed, and he brings more than just that. He brings things, the intangible things that, great players have, and, he's a tremendous leader and all of those things. He's a good receiver, too. So, all of those things I think certainly would give him an opportunity, too. And as you mentioned, I think in the Combine, it's going to be really interesting to see how well he runs.
I can't wait to watch him. I think he's going to tear it up at the Combine. Well, another guy, his running mate at running back, Kenyon Drake. There is a lot of differing viewpoints on Kenyon Drake right now. I've seen one draft that had him as high as the late second round, another that had him going in the 5th. But versatility is a big deal in the NFL, and he brings it. You see the kickoff return that really turned the game around against Clemson, or certainly kind of helped the Tide put it away. He can catch balls. He can line up in the slot. He can line up out wide. He can line up at running back. He can play special teams. I mean, if you're looking for value, this could be your guy.
Well, I mean, that's it. You summed him up there. All the things he can do versatility-wise, returning kicks, Gary, lining up, making big plays. You remember against Florida in the first game, the first play of the game in the 2014 season, lined up wide and caught that 88-yard touchdown pass. So he can do so many different things in so many different ways. Just the injuries are the things that's really probably going to be, things that maybe certainly hurt his career here at Alabama and may hurt him a little bit in the draft.
Well, Rodney, we know that Reggie Ragland, A'Shawn Robinson, Jaron Reed, Ryan Kelly, these are all guys who are going to be high draft picks, but a guy that really will be looking to improve his stock is the cornerback, Cyrus Jones. I mean, he's a little undersized, let's be honest, but he's another guy that can play special teams for you. Definitely a threat in the return game. And even though he gives up some inches, he's a fighter at cornerback. Most drafts have him, mock drafts have him going maybe 5th, 6th, 7th round. Could Cyrus Jones, with a good combine, maybe get higher than that?
Well, certainly possibly could, but again, the thing going against him is his height. I'm not sure what he's measured, at the Senior Bowl or whatever, but I do think that his size,
5'10".
5'10". Well, that's not too bad, but again, his kick return ability, Gary, the things that we saw from him this year in that regard certainly were outstanding, and so he can bring some other things in terms of the special teams. But yeah, and he's really smart. He's a really heady kid, and he's tough. I mean, he is really a strong player, even though he is a little bit undersized.
9 former Crimson Tiders at the Combine. That's third. Florida State with 10. Ohio State with 14. Alabama should have 10. I'm disappointed Jake Coker didn't get an invite. Well, another former Alabama star looking to get back into the NFL, work his way on an NFL roster, is Trent Richardson. Richardson was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in 2012, number 3 overall, traded to the Indianapolis Colts the next season, and then released by the Colts following the 2014 season. He did sign on with the Raiders last year, but was cut in training camp and never played in an NFL game in 2015. Now, he joined me on my radio show last week and said his struggles, they weren't physical. They were more on the mental side.
I think I lost sight of the reason I was playing the game. I got so, familiar with playing for everybody else and doing stuff that they wanted me to do and not being the guy that I always been. And it hurts you in the long run, especially when you get traded. And I felt like I was the best player on the field, and I'm like, how in the world did I get traded? That took a lot out of me, man. It took a lot out of me about the game, But, at the end of the day, Coach Saban used to always tell me that, especially in the NFL, it's a business. You can't really, get caught up in the feelings. That's why he's been successful, so successful because he's never up and never down.
Rodney, I spent a lot of time with Trent last week. He's probably in the best shape that he's ever been in his life. He's lighter than when he was at Alabama. He's 228. He knows he's only got one more shot. He is going to get signed to a team. There's no doubt about that. They'll be able to sign him low, but this will be his last opportunity. Can he make it back?
Yeah, certainly he can. And, we've seen guys in the past that have been that similar type story. I think when you look at him, his talent, his work ethic, I think that, Trent, it'll be interesting to see, exactly who signs him, how well he fits in with that team. But, we know about his talent, Gary. It's just a matter of kind of putting it all together and getting with the right team.
Well, I do think he's been humbled. I think he's learned some lessons the hard way, and he wants it bad. He's got the eye of the tiger. I still think he's got the ability. You don't gain over 1,700 yards at the college level unless you know how to run with a football. So we'll wish Trent Richardson the best. It would be great for him and great for Alabama if he can get back in the NFL. Well, the Alabama, as Trent Richardson tries to make his comeback, we certainly want to know if he can become a productive player. We will see. And the Alabama basketball team and the Kansas City Royals have a few things in common. Find out why the Royals sent the Crimson Tide a baseball bat. Plus, the new Joe was on full display over the weekend, and the baseball team took advantage. We'll discuss whether the Tide can maintain success in football, basketball, and baseball at the same time. And coming up, we'll be welcoming your phone calls. I know we're on later than usual, but give us a call, 205-348-9882. That's 348-WVUA, or you can email us at TITV@WVUA23.com. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Well, a series win over Maryland is just how the Alabama baseball team was hoping to start off the 2016 season, a season where Alabama gets to play its home games back in Tuscaloosa. Over $42 million went into renovations at Sewell Thomas Stadium, making it one of the best on-campus baseball facilities in the country. And Mitch Gaspard was happy to see the features and happy to see his team play well over the weekend on the field.
Probably other than a sweep, I don't know that we could have scripted it a whole lot better. I thought that we were all, both obviously myself as the head coach, our coaching staff, administration, everyone involved, our support group was thrilled. Just fan attendance. I think our fans as a whole were just super excited, all the amenities and just how everything played out, from the light show to the clubs to the student reaction in right field. And so that side of it, I think just is exciting of where it was this weekend, but where it can go to as well.
Bama baseball hosts Nicholls State tomorrow night at 6:30. Alabama basketball, it's a final now. Rodney from Lexington. Tide loses 78-53, but the basketball program is on the rise, and they're using a baseball bat as well. As interesting as that may sound, the Alabama men's team, after wins, brings out a baseball bat sent to them by the World Series champion Kansas City Royals. Now, this is video in the locker room after Bama's win at LSU. This video is provided by our friends at Tide TV, and it shows Avery Johnson passing around a blue baseball bat. Johnson says the Royals and the Crimson Tide have several similarities.
I read a story about the Royals GM. He had a chance to go to the Red Sox or Kansas City. He just wanted to go to Kansas City and try to help a program that has been down for a long time. And it reminded me of kind of my situation here. I wanted to come and try to do something that's never been done before. And, you know, we got their championship bat, and we just said every time we win a game, somebody's going to sign the bat. But it's just going to be more of a symbolization for hard work and, you know, and winning the game, not just in the game, but also in practice. You know, we're trying to hit it out of the park.
All right, Ronnie, let's talk about the big three sports on the men's side: baseball, football, and basketball. Obviously, the football team is elite, one of the great programs in the history of the game. The men's basketball team has been to an Elite Eight in numerous NCAA tournaments. The baseball team has finished second twice in the nation, been to numerous World Series, although haven't been to since 1999. You know, every athletic department now wants to excel in all areas. My question to you is the big three. Can all of them be good and compete, not just for conference championships, but national championships?
Sure. I mean, I don't really see why not. I mean, there's been other programs that have done it. I know Michigan's had outstanding, you know, programs in football, basketball, baseball.
Florida.
Florida's done it as well, as you mentioned. So, yeah, I mean, it certainly can be done. Now, obviously, it's not easy, but I think when you look at the commitment that Alabama's made, I mean, with Avery Johnson and now with the facilities in baseball, I think that we're going to start seeing the recruiting in baseball maybe pick up a little bit, even though it's not really been bad. But I think that certainly, you know, there's really no reason why it can't be very successful in all three sports.
In baseball, there was a stretch there in the 90s where Alabama, it seemed like, was at the World Series every year. They finished second in 1997 to LSU, but haven't been back since 99. The ballpark was a big part of that. They just didn't match up facility-wise. Now you've got a facility that matches up with any in the country. This is a warm weather climate. It's a great university. Got a terrific baseball tradition. It shouldn't take long for Mitch Gaspard to get this crew back to Omaha now.
Well, I think certainly, you know, again, I think the facilities have been one thing that they've talked about that's really kind of held them back somewhat. And, you know, we'll see. But I do think that I don't see where there's any reason why that you can't be successful in all three.
Football, we know, 4 national championships in the last 7 years says it all. But I think Avery Johnson gets it. When Nick Saban got here, the first thing he said is, I got to get better players. No offense to anybody else, but we got to upgrade the talent level. Avery Johnson recognizes the same thing. As well as he's coached this year, they've overachieved. Got to get more talent. For the basketball team, I think he will.
Yeah, and I think they're on the way to that. They already have a couple of really top-notch players committed and signed and what have you. And, you know, they're off to a really maybe their best recruiting class in quite some time. And, you know, it's obvious when you watch them play, Gary. You can watch them play in most of these SEC games, and the athletes on the other teams are just better. I mean, when you look at, you know, 1 through 5 or 7, whatever, they're just not what some of these other teams are. But they've competed extremely well, even though a lot of times they've been outmanned. You watch the LSU game. I mean, the one they lost here that was really close, you could tell just how much better LSU was athletically, and Alabama almost won the game and then went on and beat them later in the season. So, you know, they've really competed hard. It's just a matter of getting the players that they need.
Fans want to see their teams compete for championships. Alabama looks like it could be on the way to doing that in basketball and baseball. Already, of course, doing it in football. Well, still to come on TITV, the Alabama softball team finally will be at home after 2 weeks on the road to start the season. Plus, is it possible that Reggie Ragland wasn't even the best pro prospected linebacker on last year's Alabama team? We'll discuss. And next, we'll be taking your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the number to call us, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Email us at TITV@WVUA23.com, or you can reach us on Twitter using the hashtag TITV. We'll be back right after this.
Finally, it's an 11-game road trip. We have our brand new scoreboard. We have, I think, over 2,000 season ticket holders. Just our grass, you know, to play at home in front of our fans is going to be, for the 6 newcomers especially, something special.
Alabama's 10-1, but all 11 of those games came away from Road Stadium. They'll be back at home for the first time this season tomorrow night at 5 o'clock against Troy. And going to be a lot of fun. And we're back here on Tider Insider TV. Rodney, let's go right to the phone lines. They're ready for us tonight. Jason from Brilliant is first up. Hey, Jason, how are you?
Hey, Gary, Rodney. I just want to know if y'all could tell who Alabama signed, who we got to sign after signing day, and what positions.
Well, they haven't signed any more high school players, Jason, since signing day. There is a graduate transfer coming in. We've talked about him on the show. Garrick Dieter, a 1,000-yard receiver from Bowling Green, 10 touchdowns a year ago. He'll be eligible. He should graduate from Bowling Green this spring and be here in the summer. And they still, Rod, could add another high school or junior college player. Is there any chance of that?
They're looking for, certainly certain positions. We talked about that last week. I would think a defensive lineman, which they had just offered a JUCO defensive lineman, junior college defensive lineman yesterday out of Mississippi. And, they're going to continue to look for possibly a running back, could get a grad transfer running back if the right one came along. And you never know. They might find another position that they feel like they need to fill. And so they've got some spots available. We'll see what happens.
So Jason still could add another player or two in this 2016 signing class. All right, stay here in Tuscaloosa and talk to Sue. Sue, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are y'all?
Very well.
Hey, I have two separate questions. My first question is, with Jalen Hurts having a strong throwing arm that he has got, has Nick Saban considered him being our next quarterback? My next question is Tim Williams, Kenyon Drake, and Cyrus Jones, are they going pro this year? And when will be the first spring A-Day game to where fans can go out and actually see the players?
Okay, Sue, there's a lot right there. Hurts, we've talked about. He is in the mix. Now, he's a true freshman, already enrolled. I think he'll be considered. I think all those quarterbacks are going to get to battle for that position. We've said that before.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about all four of those guys, and we'll just kind of have to see. Obviously, Blake Barnett, Cooper Bateman, who was the backup last year, David Cornwell, and Jalen Hurts will certainly compete. And I think him being here in the spring really is a great opportunity for him to kind of get acclimated, because we may not know who will be the starter until fall camp. So he could go in fall camp still in competition for that position.
And as far as Tim Williams, Drake and Jones are gone. Tim Williams is back. He'll be a senior, and he should be a load coming off that edge as a pass rusher.
Absolutely. I think, and another thing that I really is kind of important in his decision to return, although, I felt he would return, but, he did give some consideration to leaving early, is the fact that he wants to learn to become an every down type player. A linebacker, learn the linebacker spot as a whole, Gary. So he becomes more valuable as he moves along to the next level.
And Sue, April 16th is the A-Day game this year. A-Day's on April the 16th. Thanks for the phone calls, but we're not done. Keep it with us here on Tider Insider T. Well, Tider Insider. It's late for this show. Tider Insider TV. We'll have an update on the gymnastics team. And coming up, more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information right there on the screen on how you can get in touch with us. We'll be back right after this. The Bama gymnastics squad is set to return home after winning a quad meet this past weekend at Penn State. It was the Tide's third straight score over 197. Alabama hosts 10th-ranked Georgia on Friday night. It's senior night. Bama will recognize its two seniors, Lauren Beers and Carly Sims. Let's get right back to the phone lines, Rodney. And first up is Charles in Alpine. Charles, welcome into the program. How are you? Charles, you with us? All right, Charles wants to know, will Bo Scarborough be the next starter at running back? Well, much like the quarterback position, Charles, there is going to be competition at that position. But yes, Rodney, Bo Scarborough is certainly going to be a factor in that race.
There's no question. He's got the talent, Gary, to be an outstanding player. Will he be the starter? It's a little bit early to project that. I think you would consider him going into spring practice if you had to make a guess, and it's only a guess, that he would probably be the #1 guy. But I think this is an opportunity, too, for Damian Harris, the sophomore out of Kentucky, who was a 5-star player, to really kind of step up. And it really, to me, maybe doesn't matter who actually is the starter, because Alabama always uses that 1-2 punch, and I think they need both of those guys and probably need another one.
They'll be looking for a third, I'm sure. All right, let's go to Northport and talk to Bama Jack. Hey, Bama Jack, what's up, man?
Hey, Gary, I think Rodney's wife called a while ago and said he better get home. Supper's ready.
Yeah, it's going to be cold.
My question is, I got a little prediction. What do y'all think about David Cornwell emerging as our new quarterback? And I'll hang up and listen.
So, Bama Jack, you think he will be the guy? Is that what you're saying?
I'm thinking he's going to emerge as a dog horse. I think he's going to come through.
Well, he'll have a shot. We continue to talk about it. All four of those quarterbacks, Bateman, Cornwell, Barnett, and Hurts, are going to be in an open competition. So, yeah, he could emerge. He's got the talent. 6'5", about 225 pounds, strong arm. He's a guy to watch.
Yeah, absolutely he's a guy to watch, because last spring there was a time when a lot of people thought that he might be ready to snag that spot. and just couldn't quite close the deal in spring practice, and maybe didn't quite have the fall camp that he had hoped to have, and kind of fell behind. Jake Coker stepped up. And I don't know as so much that Cornwell didn't take the job as much as some of the other guys had kind of stepped forward. But I'll say this, when you're talking about a guy with his size and his arm strength, Gary, he's a really smart guy too. I think Bama Jack's right in terms of being a dark horse kind of candidate. It wouldn't surprise me if he emerged.
We'll keep an eye on him. All right, let's get an email in before we have to close out this segment. Who will assume special teams duties with Bobby Williams moving off the field? That's from Bryant. Well, we talked about it last week. Mario Cristobal will handle the special teams now and also, of course, coach the offensive tackles. Bobby Williams becomes a special assistant to the head coach, his good friend Nick Saban. So I think there'll be a lot of continuity in this staff, and Mario Cristobal has helped some of special teams anyway. They've done a lot of committee work, even though Bobby Williams was in charge.
Well, that's the thing. It's really a team effort, so to speak, a joint effort. So I really don't think, even though Bobby Williams done an outstanding job, there's no question about that. You look at what his special teams did all year long and in that national championship game. But again, the joint effort is certainly going to be, should be able to handle it very well.
All right, thanks for the phone calls and the emails. We appreciate them. Well, Alabama quarterback Blake Barnett is going back to his high school number. Find out who will be looking for new digits on the Tide offense. If he takes that number, somebody else has got to get another one too. That's coming up after the break. Well, last year in his redshirt freshman season, Alabama quarterback Blake Barnett wore number 6. But this year, according to his Twitter, he'll wear number 8, which he said in his tweet is back to the old ways. Barnett wore number 8 in high school. Last year, wide receiver Robert Foster wore number 8, so Foster will likely need a new number. You can't have 2 8s on offense, so we'll have to wait and see what Robert Foster decides to do, if indeed Barnett has number 8. Again, that's according to his Twitter feed. Well, you see Rodney and I in our beautiful dress shirts provided by the Locker Room, located at their new location in downtown Tuscaloosa. They are the home of the original elephant wear, but they've got so much more great-looking menswear and ladies' wear. Go by and see Alex Gatewood and his staff, or you can shop online at their website, locker-room.biz. Whether you go in person or whether you order online, you'll love the clothing from the Locker Room. All right, that is going to do it for this week's program. Again, we came to you a little bit late tonight because of the severe weather, but our replay will be at 10:30, and of course you can catch it anytime at WVUA23.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching. Stay safe tonight.